Hello, everybody. Welcome to another solo episode of Habits and Hustle with me, Jennifer Cohen, and my wonderful foil that you just can't see, but her name is Shawnee.
Woo!
And today we're going to cover a couple things. First, I want to talk about the 3 things that you need to come to terms with in life. The first one is if they wanted to, they would. The second one is no response is a response. And the third one is not everybody has the same values as you. And the reason why I think these are such important things to really take to heart and come to terms with is because we so often internalize how other people treat us, act. Everything is external. And a lot of times what happens with other people is more about them than it is with us. And we need to take note of that and act accordingly. So that is why those are the 3 things I want to really cover. First one, like I said, is if they wanted to, they would. Or is that the first one I said? The second one? Doesn't matter. Let's talk about that.
We can talk about them out of order.
Right? Because we put so much value on how, what other people do. And then we think we kind of take ourselves down a bad rabbit hole, right? Like, what did we do wrong? Like, if they like you, right? Like, what did we do wrong? How can we be better? Justify people's bad behavior all the time, always making excuses. Because facts and I think a lot of times facts and reality are very different. Like, we want to believe like what's true and what the facts are and what we believe are so often so different, so vastly different. And sometimes things are just what they are. Like, if they wanted to be involved with you or call you or see you, they would make an effort. And I think so many times we're like, well, no, they're busy, or, like it's constantly this excuse thing. And if we can just actually start to take things sometimes at face value, it saves us so much grief, time, energy. Don't you agree?
I agree. What do you feel like is the line between taking things at face value and not taking things personally? Because it's like you have to find that sweet spot, right? Where you don't get upset about things and you also don't like overly put your effort into something that you know isn't really worth it. Like, where do you feel like you find that sweet spot?
I think the sweet spot, I think they're very similar, right? Like sometimes, well, actually, that's not true. By taking something at face value still can be hurtful, right? Because it's impactful to you. But at the same time, if we accept it, once we actually accept it for what it is, it's easier then to like digest it and then move on. Versus like what happens a lot of times, like what I do and what I am always trying to get better at is the rumination, right? Of like, well, the over-analyzing of why someone is doing what they're doing and like trying to figure out all the like nitty-gritty of it. When at the end of the day, does it make a difference? It doesn't matter what the reasons are for them. It doesn't change what the reality and what the facts are. And so once you start focusing your energy on something else versus that, other things open up towards you and other opportunities. And you're not wasting your time on like a dead end. So that's my point. Like a lot of times we just waste our time on dead ends because it's too hard for us to even imagine that to be the scenario. Like, you're a single girl, like
I am.
I know.
I am in fact, yes.
And if he wanted to call you, he would call you. Yeah. I hate to say it, but like, have you remember that movie? He's just not that into you.
Yeah,
it's actually true. When someone actually wants to do something, I talk about this a lot. Desire. If people wanted to act a different way, they actually would. Them not doing it doesn't matter what the reason behind it is. They're not doing it.
I agree with that. I completely agree. But also, I think it's like ripping off the Band-Aid, right? It's kind of what you're saying. Like just ripping off your own personal emotional Band-Aid where you're like, well, listen, like I just have to sort of accept it and move on.
I think the overall message here is don't put energy and waste energy on people that are not even that are like not putting you as a priority, because they're telling you you're not a priority by all these things we just said. And the other last part was like, not your value system is not necessarily going to be the same as somebody else's. So what you gauge as important and valuable may not be someone else's. So when you get hung up on what that is and theirs are, it deflects from what's important in your life.
Right. Absolutely. That's very true as well.
That's what I think. This is more from my personal experience because, like I said, I have the tendency to ruminate on things and overanalyze, and it is constantly an area where I try to like course correct it and work on it and reframe things and not waste my time going down bad rabbit holes that kept me literally nowhere fast. And the quicker that I realize what a situation is by their actions, this is, by the way, business, and it's also personal, right? It's easier to kind of like move on and keep it moving, keep it moving and not focus your attention again on the wrong people and the wrong deals.
Absolutely. I agree with all of that, actually, wholeheartedly. I know I don't always agree with you, but I really do here.
I know. Well, you don't agree with me on temperature, that's for sure.
Oh my God, I am literally dying right now. I feel like I'm about to pass out. Our value system is very different. Our temperature value system.
Actually, our value system is very similar. What's different in our values is temperature regulation. I believe it should be warm. She believes it should be cold.
Guys, Jen actually told me though, flat out, that she was also hot today in this space in which we are in right now.
Only because the whole temperature regulation in my place is very, very difficult. If it's hot outside, it's hot inside. If it's cold outside, it's cold inside. There's no proper regulation. It's actually kind of crazy. I'm telling this, we should start like an entire different podcast on just like temperature, because I feel like it bleeds into every episode that we do. No matter how much we talk about anything else, there's somewhere in the episode where the temperature of the room comes into play.
Also, by the way, the temperature of our protein, we disagree on that as well.
What do you mean?
Because you like your protein really overcooked.
Oh, that's true.
And I don't. So the temperature at which we would be like, this protein is ready would be different. I like mine cooler than yours.
That's true. You know what it is though? That's like a little hack of mine. I think when something's more well done, it takes you longer to eat it versus I like things that like
wait, what?
That
that's
expand.
Why you do it?
Not only I like
so
the taste
like
of it.
Chew it more?
Well, that's a big part of it. Like I think a part of like my whole methodology is expanding the time of every eating session of mine because I enjoy food so much. So because I will my natural impulse is to overeat and like basically shove as much food down my gullet as possible. Put these little things in place that would prevent me from like the shoving as fast. So if my food is really well done, I have to chew it longer, which makes the process extend. And that is true.
Hysterical. That's actually such a hysterical. Oh my God. So I actually went to Whole Foods the other night and the guy asked me if I wanted a cart because I was holding with my hands like a bunch of stuff. And I was like, no, this is how I budget. But that's also like how I don't buy like a bunch of stuff that I just don't need to buy. Like a bunch of like treats or cookies. Like I won't take a cart. If I'm going into something,
that's smart, yeah.
I will just like whatever I can carry in my hands when I'm exiting the store with. Oh my God.
It's like a third world country. You're like grabbing whatever you can.
It is. It's like that game where like you just shove everything into
exactly.
the thing. So it's
like shopping sweepstakes. Like whatever you can leave the store with, that's what you can actually keep.
Because if I go to the grocery store after the gym and I'm starving, if I bring like a cart in or even just a little like whatever, a basket, I will fill it up like so to the brim. So this way I don't get all the like sweets or things or whatever because I'm starving. So I'm like, so it's also.
That's a great one. I like that.
Yeah, so maybe I should cook my food a little more well done. I think chew it longer.
Chew it longer. That's why salads for me are huge. Like big, huge salads that look like they're in a horse trough.
Yes.
Is because it's volume.
Yeah.
And so it takes me a long time to eat. So then me eating that salad will negate me from then eating like a piece of carrot cake that I want. Like it's all about like knowing thyself really well to know where you will screw up and therefore course correct before you need to course correct. That's what it's about.
Have we had an episode where we haven't mentioned food yet?
Nope.
Food or temperature are two top, top points of discussion.
Food is a big one. Food is a big one. I love food. Don't you love food? Do you love food?
Well, yeah, you know the answer to that one. Yeah.
Love food. Yeah. By the way, it takes us a long time to do these episodes because we have to eat before we want a snack. We want a meal. We got to eat like honestly, like it's actually like insane. I mean, it's amazing that there's not like a pound of food on the table right now where we're just like basically like nibbling as we do this talk right now.
I'm surprised actually about that.
It's very funny actually. But to get back to the point of what I was saying, that I wanted to say also, it's that part of like, if they wanted to, they would, and value systems being different. And what was the other one that I always talk about was no response is a response is also, it's part of building your board of directors a lot, like having people around you that are people that you can rely on, that are on the same page as you, that I feel like we tend to waste a lot of time on the wrong people, on the wrong deals because of what our expectations are. And if we can just like kind of like manage those expectations, it serves us, it gives us back a lot of time in our life and a lot of happiness.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm not interested in having people do things they don't want to do. Like if I ask a friend if they want to do something or whatever, and they're just like not into it, I'm not trying to like beg someone or convince someone into doing something that's like not good for them either. Like, and so if I have to beg someone to do something, that's a waste of my time. I don't want to do that.
Right. But a lot of this has to do with like people are waiting by their phone for a text or a phone call from somebody because they think that like, because they want the situation, they want to date them or whatever, that they're just going to wait around until that person finally decides to call them or text them because they don't want to accept the reality that person's just not that interested, and also when it comes to like when you're constantly fighting over someone's value system or you're not meshing on those things, sometimes you guys are it's a miss in life and work, business, whatever, because you're not on the same value. You guys aren't on the same value system. So save yourself time and energy by acceptance of those things, eliminating those situations from your brain because it just gives you back so much effort and time. And I think that's basically all I really wanted to say about that. This could be a really short episode.
I like that. So I have one question though. Do you think that by people accepting that fate, that like that person is just not interested and just sort of moving on, whatever, and not wasting the time or waiting around, that they end up becoming in fact more desirable in the end as a person, whether it's with that one individual human or for all the other people that they're talking to?
100%. That's for sure. That's a byproduct of everything. Right. But I will say that even if it's not, I'm coming from a place of like acceptance of like not internalizing everything that goes on the outside and the external, because that's a time suck and it's a mind fuck on top of it. And once you can eliminate it, so much better comes from it. What do you guys think at home? I'm sure this has happened to you guys many times. And I want to hear how and when.
In the Facebook group, which you can join in the description below.
In the Facebook group or in a comment below. Subscribe if you haven't, and leave me a review, of course, on wherever you listen to the podcast. And of course, on YouTube, if you're watching it, subscribe. Thank you.